All right, check it out. That is a 2022 Palisade, Hyundai Palisade calligraphy trim. I have had it for several weeks now, and before getting it, I did probably like a year's worth of research looking into different cars. We had a Hyundai Santa Fe before this, and the reason we got the Palisade is not because it was Hyundai. I don't have loyalty like that. I don't care about the brand really. There were basically three main things that we wanted to get in a vehicle. The first thing is we wanted rear AC that was like by the head. The Santa Fe only had it down by the legs, and we wanted it by the head because we were having another kiddo, and I didn't like how hot it would get back there without the AC blowing by the face. So that was like the number one thing we wanted. The number two thing we wanted was a lot of leg room in the second row. One, because I'm 6'2", which is not crazy tall, but I've got really long legs, and I want to be comfortable if I ever have to sit back there, but mostly because of car seats. Car seats take up so much space that if you don't have a lot of space in the second row, then you have to move the front seat forward, and I have the front seat always put back as far as it can go. So that was the second thing. And the third thing kind of doesn't really apply, but we just wanted something that didn't have turbo, because the turbo lag on the Santa Fe was insane. Like, I almost got in multiple car crashes because of how long it would take to pick up and start going. So those were the three reasons. And obviously it doesn't have a turbo, so don't have to worry about the turbo lag. This car, from what I could find, has the most leg room, second row leg room out of any SUV. It's like 41 inches and everything else is like 39 or less. And then obviously it has the AC, so it ticked those important boxes. Also, it's got a bunch of neat tech and stuff, so we were shocked. We went and looked at a bunch of cars. We went to Audi and looked at that. We looked at like the e-tron and the plug-in hybrid they have, I think it's the Q5. And I was shocked at how little like features the Audi had. It's like they're just resting on their laurels of their name and not really putting stuff into the vehicles. And then we looked at Lexus. We originally thought we were going to get a Lexus RX 350. That's what I always wanted to get because they're very reliable. The second row legroom is not good, and our experience at the dealership was pitiful. Yeah, the Hyundai has a ton of tech, which is, you know, a neat little bonus. So anyway, once I decided we would go with that, then I started watching a bunch of videos on the actual car itself to see what people thought of it, and even like, you know, year after reviews and things like that. And I was shocked at, like, after owning it, there's so many things that people did not talk about that are pretty important to know, I feel like, about this car. Like, I mean, obviously I haven't returned it, but it's really, really annoying. And professionally, I'm a product manager, so it could just be that I'm a little nitpicky about this kind of stuff, but I feel like it's pretty standard things that was pretty severely overlooked. So I wanted to go over some of those things that nobody really talked about, so that other people could be aware of them, and then also talk about some of the good things that I don't think anybody noticed or talked about, because it's also something that people should be aware of. So first thing is the key fob. The hold to start is terrible because I have no idea how long I have to hold it, and if I'm not directly looking at the car, I have no way to know whether or not it actually started. And I feel like 70% of the time when I try to do this, I'll hold it forever and then I'll come out and it won't be started. So they should have just done 2-tap start, just like every other vehicle does. And I feel like a lot of the things that they did wrong with this car are because they wanted to be different from what everyone else is doing, and that's not a good enough reason to do stuff differently. The only reason you should do something differently is because it's better, not just because you want to be different for the sake of being different. And that's an example of it. I have no idea if it started, like, if you're going to do hold, then there should be something on this interface that says that it was successful or something like that, or even through the app. Like if I hold it through here, then the app should let me know, hey, your car started successfully or something like that. But there's no way to know whether or not it worked, which is dumb. The next thing that's annoying about this, and this is probably the most annoying thing, is the way the trunk opens. Come back here. Oh, not close enough. There we go. So it opens, takes like 5 seconds to open for the like auto tailgate assist or whatever they call it. And rather than doing the swing your foot underneath the car, that's what they did. And it takes forever for it to open. And then let's say you open it either automatically or with the button, and you grab something and you're holding it, and then you want to close it. There's no way to close it. There's no button here, something, or like a knee button or anything. The only button is all the way up here, which I can barely hit with my forehead because I'm 6'2", and if you're shorter than that, there's not a chance that you're going to be able to hit that. So you have to set the stuff down that you just got out and then push this and close it. So it's really, really, really dumb that they did that, and I'm pretty sure it's just because they wanted to be different. So definitely not worth the change to do that. And then even just opening it manually, it seems like it takes a long time. Like, why do 2 beeps to let me know that you're opening? I know I opened it, I just pushed the button. So it's really dumb that they do all of that. Then next thing that's dumb is, I feel like one of the main like demographics they were marketing this car to were families and probably moms. And if they're marketing it to families, there should be an unlock here. There is here, and it's a button, which is annoying, and it's not always super responsive. You have to be close enough with the key in your pocket for it to work. On my 2018 F-150, you just go like that and it unlocks, and that's sweet. And then it's just a touch thing, whereas this is a button. So not a big deal. A lot of other cars do that, but also just add one back here because it makes it a lot easier. Something that's just a dumb thing is this is not power fold. It's only like if you want to get somewhere tight or you just are worried about people hitting it, you have to come and manually push it in. For the fact that this is like supposed to be their luxury level, why not just do the power fold? It's definitely warrants having the power fold. A terrible design feature that they did is the windshield wipers. If you want to change them, oh, you can't do that. That's a bummer. You have to go inside. Actually, I've never tested it. Let's see if I can do it without turning the car on. With the Santa Fe, you could not. With this, nope. Nope. Let's see if I just turn the auxiliary on. Nope. Nope. Looks like it's not working. So turn it all the way on, and then you lift this up, and I think you hold it. Maybe. I'm trying to remember how to do this thing. Let's see. How the heck? Yeah. With the Santa Fe, you just hold it up. So I'm gonna have to watch a video on how to even do this to change the windshield wipers. They have to, with the Santa Fe, you would lift it up and hold it in place, and the windshield wipers would be up, and then you could change them. So the fact that I can't figure it out, what the heck are you doing, guys? That's just so dumb. So that's another thing that's dumb. That's just like a straight up design flaw. They should not have it set up like that. now that we're in the car, I'll do the dumb things in the car. So there's no glasses thing. There's this compartment for like a mirror to see in the back, which is nice. I actually use that with my kiddos, but no glasses storage. And I get that there's not a whole lot of space, but man, it's annoying. My wife puts hers there, and then I put mine over in here, because my wife always has 50 million cups that she uses when she gets in the car, so I can't put it in there. There is this massive storage under here, but there's no like compartments in there. It's just one big open space. It's just big open like that, which is neat in one sense, that you can put bigger stuff down there. But I mean, maybe even just do a little compartment there for your glasses. So that's another dumb thing. Just have a place for the glasses. Something that people did talk about in videos that I saw is the suede, and they said it was cool. I don't know who in their right mind think that's cool. It looks so dumb. Like, it just looks like it's always dirty or something. Like, it does not look good. And we're not, like, we rarely touch the ceiling, but you touch it once and then it's there forever until you wipe it again. So see, my kiddo climbed up here one time and her handprint has been there forever. So I don't know why the cuss they thought putting suede everywhere up there would be a good idea, but it's not. It's a dumb idea. And if you ever get something, I mean, it's you know, a family car and kids are eating and drinking stuff, if they get soda up in there, then it's freaking annoying to try and get that stuff out. Just put the same stuff that you put everywhere else up there. I don't know. I feel like maybe they were just doing it to be different, like I said, for everything else, but so dumb. And the fact that other people thought it was cool, I'm like, why would you ever think that's cool? It's so annoying, does not look good. And yeah, just disappointment. Then another thing that's been really annoying is in the settings. Let's see if I can get to it quick. Vehicle and door, auto unlock. Let's see, here we go. Auto unlock, enable on shift to park. So I have it. Yeah, here. Auto unlock, enable on shift to park. So what it's supposed to do is once I put it in park, then it unlocks the back doors. And I feel like 60% of the time it's locked when I go back there to open the door up for my kiddo. And obviously it's in park, or else I wouldn't be able to get out of the seat and go back there. So that doesn't work, and that's so annoying, because then I have to reach in my pocket and unlock, or reach the handle, or you know, whatever way to unlock it. It's just a hassle. It's just another step, and I hate it. I hate it. So I think that's pretty much all the things that have been annoying with this car. Oh, one thing that was weird, I think you can change it. I haven't checked, but, and you wouldn't notice this unless you had a Santa Fe before, but for skipping music, before it was you push up. Like in my Santa Fe, you push up and it would skip to the next song, and in this it's push down. That was just a random thing that I noticed, and I don't know why they would change the default on that, but it was weird that it was changed. So I think that's all the things that are dumb or design flaws. Now, some of the good things that people didn't mention. I don't know if this is good, but it's neat. This is actually texture. Like, I watched some videos, I don't think anyone mentioned, they just said that it's got this cool design. It's actually texture. It kind of feels nice. Like sometimes I'll just, you know, just scratch it while I'm driving, because it feels, it's like a sensory thing, you know. So not necessarily a good thing, but just kind of a funny thing. One thing that is neat is after you get used to this thing, you don't have to put it into park when you get to your destination, if you're going to get out, you can just turn it off and then it puts it into park. Let's see if it shows it up here. Park, yeah. You just turn the car off and it puts it into park, which is nice because then it's one less thing to do. And I think I just tested it out one time randomly and did it and found that out. So that's a nice thing that they did. Another neat thing is the parking brake. When you're on any sort of like incline or decline, it'll automatically put it on, which I believe is good for the transmission. It doesn't put the stress on the transmission to keep the car parked. It puts the stress on the brake, which is just a mechanical thing. So that is neat. It does it automatically, and I didn't know about that. Another thing that this does excellent is the what's it called, like the lane keep assist and the cruise control combination on the freeway. In our Santa Fe, the lane keep assist was terrible. It would, like, if you let go for like 4 seconds, then it would just freak out and be like, you got to take over, I can't handle this. And you know, it would have the thing saying that. And if you were turning, like if the road was turning, then it would bounce and like hit, and then it would just give up. And it was like, well, I guess we're going to crash. And so much for helping me keep that lane. With this, it does excellent. It will handle turns. I mean, I've driven, I think probably like 10 minutes without touching the wheel. It doesn't give you any notification, and it handles turns great. It even slows down for the turns too. There's a setting that you can do for that to slow down on turns if you want, to make the drive a little bit more comfortable. And it's honestly, I'm very impressed. The one thing that they could do better is the tracking of the lane. It bounces, like when you're driving, it'll bounce between the lines rather than keep you in the center, which is kind of annoying. I don't really like that. I'd rather just either hugged one side or the other or stayed in the center. I mean, ideally I would want it to just stay in the center. With this, it kind of bounces or lists back and forth between the lines. It's nothing crazy, but you definitely notice it. And if I were driving behind someone, I'd be like, what's going on with that guy up there? So other than that, it's been excellent with that. And oh, I forgot something that is annoying is the auto on and off. I think in my Santa Fe, it would, if you clicked it off, then it would just remember it for the next time you got in the car, and it was just always off unless you turned it back on. With this, you have to turn it off every single time. I don't know if that's like a legal thing, but it's such a bummer that you can't just turn it off and have that setting remain. I've even heard of people pushing it down and then super gluing it in place, because there's people that'll be like, oh, it's not that big of a deal. Like, it starts up right away when you take your foot off the pedal. I mean, it is quick. I'm really quick to punch it on the gas. And it's not like I'm speeding, but like I move my foot over really quick, and often I've caught it when it hasn't been ready. Whatever, that's not a big deal. The annoying thing is it turns off the AC if you're sitting there for too long, or the heating, and that is super annoying. So people act like, well, it's not that big of a deal. It's pretty freaking annoying when it's 100 degrees, which happens frequently where I live, and the AC is turned off. So yeah, I'd say it's pretty annoying. The auto hold, people have talked about that in other videos. What is nice about it is it's a lot easier to engage and disengage than on the Santa Fe, which if you haven't had one before, you won't really notice that, but it works well. And this isn't really like a good or bad feature. It's just a nice to know. I don't feel like anybody talked about the different settings. All of these are pretty self-explanatory. The smart, though, I always leave it on smart, and basically, from what I understand, the car tracks how you drive. And, you know, if you want to give it a little bit more gas, or, you know, depending on if you're in hustle or something and you forget to put it into sport mode, or if something just happens, you got to give it more gas, then it'll respond accordingly and it will, you know, pick it up quickly. And I'll turn this on so you can see too. So on the display down there, you can see the Smart right now is green. It changes color based on how you're driving. So if you're getting more aggressive with your driving, then it goes to like a purple, like to like a blue, a purple, and more red if you're driving more aggressively. And if you're driving more reverently, then it's, you know, gets more purple, blue to green. And that's based on these. So this is the sport mode, which is red, the comfort, which is blue, and then eco, obviously green, and then snow. So based on how you're driving, that'll change colors. But yeah, the smart mode's definitely I would say, best one to just always have it on when you're driving, unless you're, you know, wanting to always be in eco or something, because it responds to how you're accelerating and stuff. You know, if you're wanting to get onto the freeway quick, then that'll respond to it. So that is a neat little thing. I think that's pretty much it. That's I've liked the car thus far. It's been pretty good, and there's other features obviously, but other videos talk about them. This is just to hit the things that I think people missed. I guess one other thing that is kind of annoying is the rear windshield wiper fluid dispenser. Let's see if we can see it. Oh man, let's see, there we go. I'll push it. It just does a little squirt right there. It seems like they could have just angled it a little bit better so that it spread a little bit more rather than just dripping it right there. So that's the car. I'd say it's worth it. What's crazy, this is not going to apply, and hopefully in a year or so, it was cheaper for us to buy a brand new car than a used one, because the market right now, I hate saying it, I hate sounding like a full-on dad. The market right now is just crazy. But legitimately, this is probably the only time in history this has ever happened, and probably the only time it ever will happen. It was $6,000 to $9,000 cheaper for us to get this brand new car versus a used one. And I still had car sales guys being like, yeah, you know, it's probably 6 months out before we can get you a new one, but we've got a used one that we could get you in right now. I'm like, oh, how much is that? And they're like, oh, it's this much. I'm like, that's $6,000 more. And they're like, yeah, that's just how the market is. So I just called around to a bunch of different dealerships and found one that had not been like called or dibsed or set aside for somebody. Reserved, that's the word I'm looking for. Had not been reserved, and I got that, and that was this one. It worked out for us. So just a crazy thing that will probably never happen again. And I definitely don't recommend buying new, because, you know, unless you're holding on to it forever, it's depreciating right when you drive it off. That being said, it is nice to have the peace of mind with the maintenance that, especially Hyundais, they have like 100,000 mile, which is neat. So it is nice to have that peace of mind. But I have purchased used for my other vehicles because that's usually what makes sense. So there you have it. The Palisade calligraphy trim. I think most of those things will apply to the other trims as well, like the trunk thing. Man, I just cannot describe my hatred for that enough. It is just on that note, there you have it.